and welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto. How are you guys doing? What'd you think of that last series? It's pretty epic. I'm kind of exhausted from watching it. I don't know how they're feeling, but one of them's coming right back on stage. The stakes are real right now. 2 people are coming up, and one of them is going home, and the other stays alive to come back tomorrow. First guy needs no introduction. He was just here. He is the man, the god, the weapon. Put it together for Flash. And his opponent was up here earlier, and she's fighting for her life. She's from Kingston, Ontario. And you guys remember the drill? Remember the MC? I think it'd be pretty cool if maybe we did a Scarlett. What do you think? Can we pull that off? Now let's give it a try. We'll start here with Scar. Scarlet. Acer Scarlett.
Okay, from our point of view, back here watching that on the TV, it was like, it was like a teleported Scarlett into the stage right there. So we're all ready for the last game of the day. It's been a very fun day, seeing all sorts of kind of crazy games, both on the stage, backstage, on Roddy's stream, everywhere. It's been just a terrific day. Last game of the day.
Yeah, I think
Flash versus Scarlett.
ZVT has been Scarlett's strongest matchup for a while, and maybe that's just because I happen to watch more of the Terran games, but I think so. Not too recently.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a surprise to us.
She definitely took out some pretty good players, such as Polt.
She did.
And I think
it's obviously had those epic games against Bomber over the last 12 months or so. I mean, pretty much every time they play, it seems to be just an absolutely amazing game. I don't know how to feel about this one. This is a tough one. It's a lower bracket game. We should point that out. Both of them lost their opening game in this group. It's GSL standard format, so lose this one and you're done.
Yep.
You're out. You're gone. And we're going to lose either Flash or Scarlett. And that's just the height of where we are in this tournament right now. It's disappointing that we have to lose one of them. One of them does go through, and as Jarrett rightly said, we'll play tomorrow in the last game of each group. So just for those that are just tuning in right now, we've gone through all 4 groups A to D. We've lost 1 player from each of those groups so far. This is the game that will decide who we lose from Group D. That'll be the 4th player out. And we only have 1 player through from each of the groups so far. Are you surprised by anything today?
Well, apparently, whilst I was casting that last game that gave me a stomachache because of how incredible it was, I noticed that Snoot advanced over SOS.
Indeed.
Spoilers, sorry.
You just ruined the VODs for everyone here.
Well, that just happened, so...
He's lynching a thing in Canada. Yeah, so you can lynch Kalaris right after this.
Well, there you go. You're going to find out anyway.
All right, okay.
So, so that happened as well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Polt is out.
Polt's gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
Hyun's
gone.
Hyun's gone.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, #1 player in the world right now, ranked in WCS.
Yeah. Yep.
Last week's winner at Red Bull Detroit, gone.
Yeah.
Not in
just like, where does this stop? This carnage?
in a TVT, no less.
Yes.
Well, a TVT and then a TVP.
Yeah.
But I mean, he dropped to the losers 0-2 or like 0-2-1 to Bunny because there was a draw.
Yeah, no, it was.
There was a draw.
It was a best of 4, and he won 2-0. Scarlett right now on the line. Home crowd, home favourite. Probably their best hope of all coming into this tournament. Huck did terrifically well. Unfortunately, just fell 1 short. Massa, of course, got himself through the Canadian qualifiers, but this is it. Last chance saloon for Canada on home soil.
Yeah, and I think she at least has ZVT going for her, but Flash has been very on point. Seems to favor mech in general in this matchup. I think Scarlett's versus mech plays is pretty well developed.
You watched Flash through qualifiers. You watched him play in GSL recently as well.
Yeah.
And you watched Pro League, I know, because we were watching Pro League pretty much all seasons. Mm-hmm. What do you make of his return to form?
Nice, good, fun, exciting, flamboyant. No, ultimately, like, I mean, what can you say? Flash returning to form. Unfortunately, losing out on that last series, but what a series! I mean, it's a pleasure to watch. Ultimately, it's a pleasure to watch. And for StarCraft 2, Flash doing well. That means, in my books, StarCraft 2 is doing well.
Okay, we're going to head over to the commentary team in just a moment. Just very quickly, one name, one score. Go, Kevin.
Flash 2-1.
Kalaris.
Flash 2-0.
Wow! Permission to lynch.
I don't.
Granted.
I was already going to be
Granted.
lynched, so whatever.
Hey, I'm Terran. I'm allowed to be biased here.
Yeah,
you have no excuse.
No excuse whatsoever. Kalaris then, not going with the Canadian crowd. I'm going to do the 2-1 Scarlett thing.
This guy.
Just because I want to get out of here alive.
He's pandering to you.
Let's head over to the commentary team and find out what they think is going to happen and let them tell the story of our final game in Group D. It's Scarlett versus Flash.
Thanks, Paul. Definitely, you know, this is not the match that I think a lot of people were expecting. If you're an MC fan, you might have seen this coming, but to think that one of these two amazing players has to be eliminated right now, it's a pretty somber story.
It's kind of sad. I wish like there was like, you know, a secondary tournament where they'd still be alive or something. But no, one of them is going to be eliminated. And if you think about how they match up against each other, I think Flash has been doing pretty well against Zerg. He won his last 7 series against high-level Zergs, including in GSL. He beat Solar and Dark.
Yeah.
And you have Scarlett, who's always shown good things about in her ZVT at least. At some point, she was complaining a little bit, you know, that it was difficult, especially with Elbats and all that, but she's always done well. She beat Pulse. I think it was something like 6-1, you know, in the Battlegrounds.
Yeah.
So definitely very high up there in terms of Zerg versus Terran. Stylistically, how do you think they match up against each other? We have a Scarlett who gets a lot of Banelings and then a certain amount of Mutas. How do you think Flash is going to match up against that?
When I look at the way that Flash played in the most recent games, I guess we pull from those GSL games because Flash, and they kind of touched on this a little bit when they were discussing the strategy on the couch. Flash has not been a guy to shy away from mech builds, but most recently, he's kind of taken this Widowmine change and not really done a whole lot with it. He likes to go for the Thor Hellbat composition and just use really good control and really good splitting to get victory without relying on those Widowmines getting big connections. He'd rather rely more on his mechanics of getting lots of units out.
So what maps would be the best to go for mech on? King Sejong, is that one of them?
If he wanted to go on mech, King Sejong's great. The fewer bases, the better, right? Because the Zerg player will naturally have a mobility advantage that allows him to take more expansions than you. And over the course of a long game, you sometimes end up, if you're on like Nimbus or Deadwing, if the Zerg just rotates around the map faster than you, they'll end up mining more bases overall. And it gets really tricky, but we're about to find out which one of these two fantastic StarCraft players will have to leave the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto. And our first player in the bottom right position, one of the greatest Terrans of all time, from KT Rolster, he is Flash! And his opponent, the Canadian native, fighting for her life in this tournament. Representing Team Acer, she is Scarlett.
Any chance we see something crazy like a 2-Rax out of Flash, you think? I feel like he's not really that guy. If he felt like maybe he had very little chances, like he was up against a Zerg that's just too good for him, then again, he's Flash, so there's nobody really. He might go for it, but I don't think...
I've seen Flash go for Proxy Reaper on this map in particular. I believe one of the games that he played in the Kespa Cup qualifier a week or so ago, he did pull out a 2-Rax in at least one or two of those series. It might have been in the series against Effort or Soulkey, but he's busted out a little bit more of the cheddar. However, he's so strong with his macro and his mid-game, and his late-game control, that Flash, I don't think he needs to, prop himself up on any particular strategy or another.
Some of these Zergs that Flash has beaten recently include Symbol, Sue, Soulkey, Effort, and Solar. I mean, doesn't really get any better than that. But now he's up against a Zerg that lives and practices in Korea herself. Well, I'm sure maybe I met Flash in there on ladder. Some points. Probably doesn't even know about it because they would both be barcodes.
Yeah, with how much both of these two play, I'd be very surprised if they've never somehow run into each other. But Flash...
They never played in a tournament.
No,
in
not
an
in
official
any tournaments. Well, Flash really hasn't played in a lot of tournaments outside of Pro League and GSL, and even GSL kind of started towards the later end of, or at least his StarCraft 2 career. So this has been, I like getting to see players like Flash come out to tournaments like this. I was really happy to see Zest come out. I know CJ Entis Hero has been one of the Kespa players that's had a lot of success in the foreign tournaments, and I hope this is a trend that we see continue because. I feel like a lot of people like watching Flash a lot.
What do you think about Scarlett's gasless build in this game? You think it's her best build, or she can mix it up a lot? Is Flash going to be able to expect that too? Because to some degree, you expect players to prepare for their matches, but I'm pretty sure that Flash was focused mostly on preparing for MC. So has he really had time to watch at Scarlett's VODs and all that?
I'd be surprised if he had a lot of time to do it. Definitely not the kind of guy to look at a group like this. If he really wants to win this tournament, and which I assume he does, there's no way he passed up an opportunity to at least check out some of these players or have one of his teammates do a bit of research for him. Because it's just the kind of, regardless of whether or not he thinks he's better than Scarlett, you don't underestimate an opponent because that's how upsets happen.
Yeah.
I do like how he kept the Reaper back here. In case anyone's wondering, he's like, why isn't the Reaper trying to go kill drones? Why isn't he doing anything crazy? Flash just wants to make sure that there are no fast Zerglings coming to his base so that he can just smoothly go through his opener because he's not super worried about...
Yeah, he didn't get a second one.
Yeah. He just went straight for the reactor because those Marines can deny scouting. We can see now that 2 gases are being taken. You asked me about the gasless build. Oftentimes, Zergs will start the gas at 5 minutes or 5:45. But this game was started at just around like 4:50. So
yeah,
Scarlett could launch. She could launch off of this into a Roach play, or this could just be double evolution chamber. I feel like you're really putting a lot at stake when you try to go for something like a Roach timing against Flash.
Scarlett, if you think about it, she has some of the very best crisp rate out of all Zergs. She should basically go 4 queens in every single matchup and on every map because she just does so well with that. But it's going to be a very quick layer here. Any chance? Oh, she gets that already one more extractor. Do you think there is some kind of fast Mutas here in the plan? Maybe hoping to catch some kind of 3cc off guard to the damage?
It could work. Flash is kind of known, I would say, for some Hellbat-based plays, but also a lot of Hellion Banshee. And if Scarlett really wanted to try to get inside of Flash's head, this Overlord on the right side could be used for something like a Nidus Storm on the right, and you go Nidus Queen, it's kind of about as hard of a counter as you're going to get to Hellion Banshee since you have an Overseer already, since you have a lair you need a lair to do it.
Is that
but the Spine Crawler being put down does, I'm starting to lean towards what you said, Todd. Mutalisks, otherwise Roaches will defend you on the ground. You don't need a Spine unless your tech is going to take you a long time to reach.
Do you think Flash... I was thinking about maybe he might do an elevator, but I think he's just going to go at the front with the Hellions and the Reaper.
Yeah, I mean...
And he's going to drop the Marines.
I like it. This is something Tasia's done a lot very recently.
Is 4 queens and a few links enough to defend against that?
It all depends on the kind of shots the Hellions get, because these Marines will deal with the queens and no trouble with all these
Spines are not up
healings.
yet, and the Hellions are going to get into the main. Flash is looking for big connections on those drones here.
What's most important is as he kills these drones, he will see the Spire, and he is roasting up those drones quite nicely. The Marines still in the natural. The most important thing those Marines do is keep these queens from running down to help faster, because Zergling speed isn't done, and Zergling just simply aren't doing the what they need to be doing at this point. Flash
16 drones have died already here. Scarlett down to 39 walkers to 34 SCVs. Flash though, in the meantime, doesn't start any kind of eBay.
21 drones killed.
Oh my god.
And Flash starts up Stim. He's going to add on 2 barracks immediately. He's not as concerned about the upgrades because he knows, hey, you don't have evolution chambers. So all I really need to do is not lose half my SCVs to this Mutalisk play. And I am way ahead in this matchup. And I have to say, Flash, he doesn't really have a lot of Marines out. So this is the most vulnerable point in the game for him. When these mutas come out before his production kicks in.
I think he should be able to get the turrets on time. +1 starts immediately for the air units here for Scarlett, who wants to make sure she gets those upgrades going. I'm actually surprised, because she already doesn't have that much gas to make all the mutas. So she's going to get even less now. Actually, just 2 mutas starting now. I mean, at this point in the game, it's kind of pathetic. Like, ideally, you will be...
You would like
she
to
can't
afford
at
anything.
least 6 to 8.
When you lose 21 drones in the first 8 minutes of the game, that happens. It's a really difficult position to be in, because even though Flash delayed his 3rd command center, which he's now getting, he's more than certainly paid for in every other way. And Scarlett has caught up in the drones because what else can you really do with this opening besides pump out, Mutalisks as you get the gas and then drones when you have leftover minerals.
The one Muta,
But the mules. Dat one Muta harass. It's not the most scary.
It's looking for a hole in defense. Not gonna find any for now. Maybe, actually, some SCVs are stuck between the CC and Starport here.
This Muta's ambitious, but even that one Viking can shoo it away. You're right, though. That's a couple SCVs. It's actually, 3. Right in between the Starport and the main command center of Flash.
I don't think he minds too much. Having the mules and being on the same worker count, he's just gonna have so much more income going for him. Widow Mine production is gonna start now, as well as combat shields. And Flash, I mean, from there, what does he go into? Does he start and drop in some places, knowing there is not that many mutas ready to intercept him? Or does he try to stay on the ground, push back the creep, and then slowly but surely make enough units to just go for a final attack?
I mean, with a lair already being done, Flash can anticipate that a Baneling nest will come up soon, and then with that Baneling speed, so you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself, even if you picked up a big early edge like with the Hellions that he did. Establishing a third base, getting a bunker, getting a missile turret, and some supply depots to help lock it down while you defend the Muta harass is the most important thing, because once Flash can lock down his 3 bases, that's when the Terran player just starts pushing across the map. That's when you knock down the creep. But if he tries to do anything on 2 bases, he's really putting a lot at risk. Like, as he moves out now, the Mutas are in a great spot to catch a 3rd command center, and that's what Scarlett's looking for. She kills this Marine that's here. The command center is moving out, but if Scarlett defends against these Marines and delays the 3rd, Flash, he can slowly edge away from having this lead.
He's trying to cut off those mutas, maybe try and catch them out of position. Why did Scarlett just get Nuta Scarface? Is this that important to get it in a game like this?
I think you almost have to get it against a player that builds mines, but Flash, I will say that's kind of surprising only because when you watch Flash play, he usually doesn't go for a crazy amount of mines. However, this game, he has opted to open up with about 6 so far. He usually switches more towards Hellbats once he begins the Thor process, though.
In terms of production, I mean, Flash is very high up there already with a lot of barracks and reactors on them, getting a ton of Marines out. He's gonna push back the creep. Oh, but on the other hand, Scarlett has a lot of Banelings. I don't know if that there are enough Widow Mines here for Flash to be able to fight in a good position.
Yeah, with Baneling speed about to finish, he really shouldn't be able to get too much done here.
No Evo, by the way, for Scarlett.
I like sitting on the edge of the creep, though. Yeah, actually, that's probably the most important thing to note right here. Flash has +1 attack, no armor. He starts +2. He starts his +1 armor.
Yeah.
So he's going to kill these Zerglings very quickly, but, the Banelings don't care as much about those upgrades. And, whoa, those Widow Mines pretty much acting like Banelings for Scarlett.
The friendly fire, she's gonna go for the chase here as she sees that Flash unburrowed for a second, needs maybe some target on the Widow Mines.
Yeah, well, now the creep spread's running out. The Banelings move forward, and those Widow Mines get some solid connections. As long as there are Marines left over, Flash can trade a little bit. Scarlett will hold on, and this is what I was talking about. Fortunately for Flash, though, the weakness of a push like this can be recovered because there's no Banelings. It's very difficult for Scarlett to move forward. There's not a lot of creep spread. We see Flash now starting to move into Hellbat production. The second factory's on the way, and a couple more missile turrets are going to lock things down. Despite how poorly that trade may have looked for Flash, there's still no creep by the 4th base, and there's still no creep anymore in the center of the map.
Double Evo finally going down here for Scarlett. She knows she's gonna have to get some of those upgrades to win. The only other solution would have been maybe to all-in after holding that attack, but I don't think it would ever work.
Not with losing all those Banelings.
Yeah.
It's happened before. We've seen players like Life just overrun a Terran that commits too much.
If you look at the walker count, she's done a very nice job of catching up, getting the right amount of, the right ratio of units to walkers. And Scarlett looks like she's thinking about attacking or maybe waiting for Flash here to maybe move out to try and crush everything that he has. She's gonna start some upgrades. She gets Burrow as well. That's interesting. She's done miracles before with some burrowed Banelings.
Burrowed Banelings. I agree, Todd. Very important. Thing is, Scarlett has invested a lot into these Mutalisks. Like, there's not a crazy number of them, but with +2 attack, they destroy these missile turrets very quickly. And at this point, Flash, he has so many more upgrades to get that building armor really isn't a possibility. That's why he's added so many extra missile turrets. And if Scarlett can get in, those workers are going to die very fast. She just wants to hold Flash away. And we can see with pre-infernal igniters on the way, Flash will be committing to the Hellbat setup. And
Infernal pre-igniter, Nate.
Has Scarlett...
She took a page out of Snoot's book here, getting some Swamos versus Terran. I think she probably realized that it's just going to be so hard to hold the next push from the Terran player, who's just got so much army supply. 108 against 85 right now. She's just gonna go for the Swamos to have some locusts to help and deal with that bioforces.
Yeah, this is.
I thought she might like rush a high for a second, but I guess this makes sense now. And by the way, Flash, I don't think he's a big fan of Munalisks. He's made a ton of turrets everywhere, actually kind of blocking his minerals in his natural, and he's moving across the map now. He doesn't want to go into some kind of base trade against the Mutas. He might be calling me off the map now.
Yeah,
Scarlett.
there's a lot of Zerglings and Banelings on the left
that.
side, but it's off creep. Like, these Banelings won't do anything. Maybe if they were burrowed, she could try to bait Flash in, but he's usually not the kind of guy to make mistakes like that. But I have to
trying
say,
to get away. Flash is gonna surround those units. This is ideal here for him.
This is a huge pickup for Flash, moving in on both sides, trying to burrow.
You can't
I think, some
leave.
of those Banelings. Oh, Flash, watch where you step. Steps away just in time. God, it's nerve-wracking to watch this. Oh, more Marines right over it. Scarlett loses most of these forces, though, not seizing the opportunity to get a big Baneling mine detonation.
Not the connection she needed. She needed better than that. Behind this, we have more Swamos being made, as well as more Banelings. Ideally, she would like Flash to attack into the Locust that can tank while the Banelings get in and get the connections needed, but I don't think that Flash is going to fall for it. He's probably going to start cleaning that creep here with the scan, and then see where he's at, see or maybe where he can drop. Against a big Doom drop here, I don't think Scarlett will do that well, because she doesn't have that many Mutas, but she's 10 walkers ahead. If she can stay alive, she might be able to do well in the later stage of the game.
Yeah, this army can fight maybe one wave of Locusts and then either has to kill all the Swarm hosts or back off. And Slash doesn't want to do this. He's like, okay, you want to defend the middle of the map? That's fine. Going in now on the 4th base is a crouch chance defense. But this hatchery, you should be able to pick this off and just run away. Sometimes you want to set up a pre-split and get nice and postured on a base like this. But when you're up against Swarm hosts, you just want to get the hell out, because those things, they don't really cost any money.
The creep spread on the left-hand side by Scarlett is a big deal, by the way. It will really help in basically allow her to spot those potential drops going for the main. But Flash is pressing forward. He knows that there are only Swamos here to help and defend against this, and there might not be enough Locust and Banelings, so he goes for the fight against these Locusts. After the first wave, he's gone.
Yeah,
he's on the creep though.
Yeah, full stim by Flash. All he really needs to do is keep the Marines away from the Banelings. The rest of this army is nice, but each wave of Locust is going to continue to trim this down, but Flash just has so much supply. Here come the Banelings. Marines splitting away from creep. They're all still alive, and as good as the Locust might be, the healing power from these medevacs give just a little bit more sustain.
Is it though? Like I don't think he's going to kill that base. The next wave of Locust is almost ready. Mutas, actually with low hit points, he's gonna be able to get a hatch thanks to the +3 attack upgrades.
This is an important pickup, because now Scarlett, she's on just 2 bases. Of course, these Mutalisks want to grab everything that they can on the way out. You know, a lot of these players, Todd, I'm sure you saw when Snoot was playing some of that ZVT. Everybody was watching. They were like, well, how exactly do you work around a style like this? And I like to think that you can just kind of dance around where the Locusts are going, but when you get zoned in really well, it becomes difficult. And we haven't seen Scarlett use this style a lot, so maybe she's still getting a feel for this, but Flash seems to at least not allow him to lose the lead he had in the earlier phase of the game just because Scarlett went Swarm host.
I mean, in terms of upgrades, she's already in 3-2, where Scarlett is basically 1-1-1. She made 1 upgrade of each out of her Evos. She's +2 on the air units, but there are only a few Mutas, and Flash, he's not slowing down. He's going in for the kill, and he's going to keep on fighting against these Locusts. The Banelings thinking about going in.
It's so tricky. I mean, attacking this on the ground is so difficult to do. Like, the Mutalisks combined with the Swarm host is just too strong. Like, I don't know if there's a reason why Flash needs to attack into a 2-base Zerg, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he could just do a Doom drop in the main against Swarm hosts.
Yeah, either a Doom drop or max out, and against a composition like this, I mean, if you're not sure what to do, mess around a little bit. I don't think going for some mechie units would even be that bad in this situation.
Oh, is he gonna scan here soon? Up to 18 Swamos. Yes, Scarlett sends the Baneling in. It's not doing really anything. 3-3. Oh, I mean, the +3 armor upgrade here for Flash is on the way. Banelings are gonna help for a second, but Flash, he's actually sieged there. Like he's not accepting that he's not gonna break through this. He's being stubborn now.
I don't care if there's a new wave of units every 30 seconds. We're gonna continue to try and plow through this. I think this is the only way for Flash to lose this game is to continue rallying into this.
She caught up on supply. He has to slow down. Flash is gonna pull back. Scarlett defense for now.
Yeah, the thing is, Scarlett, she has now reclaimed that third base, but you still need the fourth. Like, Flash is not too far behind on resources, lost only 1,000 resources, although I will say he was in a much better position before he pushed into the Locust for 3 waves.
So we're going to start scanning here for the script tumors, even getting the siege down there.
See,
I don't think that Locust have the range from the high ground.
No, I mean,
Ooh, actually, he's
I don't know if they have
shooting.
enough. Maybe it's close, but I don't know if it's quite enough. They have like 3 range. It's very short.
More attack upgrades here starting for Scarlett. She's going to need that. She actually clears the rocks herself. And big Doom drop finally going to be happening in the main. There are only the Mutas in position. Scarlett needs to come back quickly, but she needs that wave of Locust to really help deal with this.
I like that Scarlett picks off those the Widow Mines, but now the Marine push on the right side. This is Flash abusing the immobility of Swarm Hosts and even killing one. Very close to picking off a lot of those. Like I said, the Zerg player has
those
one.
units.
Oh!
Where are you going, units? Wrong way.
It's crazy to think how little Scarlett's mining now and how difficult it is for Flash to
She's
kill her.
mining out. She
Yeah.
got very few minerals on the natural, and now the third base is gone. So Flash, I guess, he's kind of choking her out. There's not going to be too many minerals left on those bases. 400 income. I mean, against 2,000.
When you can starve out a Swarm Host player, you know you're in a good position.
You know you did something right somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, Flash had a great grip on this game from the very beginning, and I can't blame Scarlett because, to be honest, with how successful this has been, it definitely seems like the only way she could have gotten the game this far and have this much supply with how it started.
Scarlett is trying to catch some of those reinforcements. And you know what? Flash, he's been attacking into these locusts many times. If he manages to reach some of those infestors, she could maybe hold on and get another base or kill a lot. But Flash now gets in there, he stimps again. Oh man, these locusts, they have to do so much.
He's challenging the damage output of Marines versus the Locusts, and the thing is, I guess he could just keep killing the third base. Scarlett, yeah, she can't just sit on 2 bases forever. GG, Flash takes the first game here in this elimination match at the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto. Todd, everybody seemed to be watching that ZVT that Scarlett played against Masa. Was there anything that you thought, if Scarlett's in an even position, I think that's when dealing with this style becomes much more frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, it's really all that happened prior to that, and with the initial 21 drones or so dying in start of the game, that set her way far behind. But behind this, I really like the attempt, you know, the resilience, staying in there, trying to hold on, and Flash not putting in his best effort of dropping and, you know, going around the locust, just rally his barracks across the map. He's like, hey, I'm Flash, just get out. You're gonna lose eventually, and eventually she did die.
I definitely think there's a universe out there where a lot of Terran players throw games when they have leads against a style like this because the Swarm Host can be so cost effective. But Flash,
is that your ladder sessions?
Maybe that might just be me. But Flash, when you get your 4th base up, I guess he still has enough resources to just kind of throw it away into the Swarm Host. As long as he kills something with every wave, he doesn't have to be worried too much. The next map is Foxtrot Labs, which I won't say is a bad map for the mech style. There's a lot of different pathways and alleys to attack through, though, so it could make...
Against mech, you need to play mostly Swarmos, right? Do you think Scarlett has much experience with that? I feel like Scarlett is not one of those Zergs that play all that many Swarmos, you know, even though she used to do it a bunch against Protoss, even had some good wins, like against Protoss is like Hero, against Terran.
When there was that period of time where mech was kind of getting a bit more popular towards, I'd say, the beginning of this year, we saw a lot of Mutalisk Swarm Host play come out. Scarlett was one of the players that was willing to use this strategy, and I think that pretty much shut down the majority of players that were going mech. We pretty much saw the trend come to a complete stop because of Mutalisk Swarm Host. So I think Scarlett's capable of doing it, and her Swarm Host control in the last game it seemed to be about on par. Not quite Snoot level, of course. I don't want to take that title away from him as the god of Swarm Hosts. But maybe we just get a more straight-up game because I feel like Scar's probably not going to take as much of an economic hit at the start.
So you don't think Flash is going to try to mech on this map? Does it change anything that is up 1 game?
I think Flash's setup for playing with Bio, playing with Marine Hellbat Thor, is so good that taking a risk by playing a slow, immobile style is just not his thing. I would be a little bit surprised if Flash actually went mech against Scarlett on this map.
All right. Those look like Life is up 1 map against MC, by the way, in the winner's match. Life could advance on into the next round with another map win against MC. We've had 2 Terrans already take the first places in the first 2 groups. Snoot taking the first place of Group C. And now possibly Life. Where are the Protosses, man? What's happening?
I'm surprised the Boss Ties hasn't gotten through after that match versus
Has,
Flash.
has the balance been restored in the StarCraft world?
No, that's not until all the first place group finishers are Terran. But
Okay.
you know, it's actually really crazy when we look at the results of this group, like how much this group is affected by Sasquatch dropping out of the open bracket because Life replaced
Yeah.
him to even come to this tournament. And it's really weird how like it's something that seems like, okay, you know, we had to replace a player, but the player that ended up replacing him is potentially coming out first in this group.
Or even winning the tournament, possibly.
But,
I mean,
yeah.
he's been playing great. Man.
Some really interesting stories, I think. Definitely, I didn't get to catch any of the games that Snoot played against SOS, but defeating him, I don't think he dropped any maps in his group either. It's pretty gnarly.
I don't know how you think about it, or what you think about it, but Scarlett losing 21 drones in the previous game, it really looked like she got caught off guard. She expected a completely different opener out of Flash, and then those Marines got in, those Hellions got in. She just wasn't ready. She didn't have the units. She saw it too late. She started some spines, but then the Hellions just fried literally 21 drones, which is an almost unrecoverable situation.
The thing is, Flash, many Terran players, and this is what I get when I talk to other people, when I play my own games. When you see a fast spine crawler from a Zerg player, it almost always is some sort of fast Mutalisk player or fast Lair, because the Zerg doesn't want to build Roaches or Zerglings. They want to save whatever resources they can for their gas later on when they get the Lair tech up. So for Flash to go for that kind of Hellion run by, that's precisely the worst thing that can happen to you, because you don't want to build Zerglings. So I'd say it comes down more so to Scarlett's build being greedy. Maybe she didn't expect the Hellions to run in, because maybe she thought that Flash would keep them for a later attack or maybe a later Hellbat push, which Mutalisks would have shut down very nicely. But honestly, I think if you're playing versus someone that's doing this fast Spire play, you should always try to run your Hellions in, because they generally can't afford to have anything else if they're rushing up to Mutalisks.
Or not even Wolof, I guess.
Yeah, they can't afford to do anything because they rush straight to Spire.
The Spire does take a long time to go up as well, so there is, I guess, a sort of, semi-long timing that you can hit before it's up and the Mutas are finally out. And Flash actually hit very, very early in that game with a bunch of Hellions and Marines. And behind this, actually took his sweet time, throwing down the eBay. But I mean, after killing 21 drones, can you really still lose if you're that good of a player as he is?
Yeah, I think this next game, Scarlett can pick a build that's perhaps less greedy. And I don't mean to say it's not like she built a bunch of drones or went for fast upgrades, but when you just rush for tech and have no units, sometimes you die. We've seen it in the reverse positions in
when
this
you play the
matchup.
game of drones, you win or you die.
Yeah, exactly. You get 80 drones by 8 minutes, or it's all over. So I think on Foxtrot Labs, though, it's not a bad map for Mutas, because bouncing between the third base and the main of the Terran player is very easy. Once you get in any kind of rhythm, it's a super short air distance, but the running distance, you have to go down around the natural, down the ramp, and it can be very frustrating in the early game, especially since there's so many different ways into the natural, depending on the spawns usually.
When do we see the
tricky.
gold base being used on this map?
I think it just comes down to how gutsy a Terran or Zerg is feeling. If you're ahead, if you feel like you've done a lot of work and that you can defend whatever the Zerg throws at you, then there's no reason not to take the gold base if you get like a top left or bottom right spawn. But that also exposes you, because then you have 2 ways that the Zerg can try to hit that base. So we had to fix a couple things, but we're ready to start this game now. The lobby is now counting down. And Todd, man, I think a lot of people be a bit upset to see Scarlett go out at this point in the tournament.
Well, a lot of people would be upset to see Flash go out.
Yeah.
Basically, a lot of people are going to be upset, but also happy, because one of those guys, he's going to have another chance at making it to the next round, the round of fate.
I like what you said. Let's just have them keep playing games after this. Whoever loses, it's not fair. It's not fair that someone has to be eliminated. These players are so awesome. It looks like we need just a quick pause.
Some of the casters dropped, sadly.
Yes, we have. I gotta say we've had quite a few multiple language streams. The Spo TV Games, they're actually doing a Korean stream of this tournament, because even they want to see Scarlett versus Flash.
I mean, everybody wants to see Flash play, man.
That's true.
What do you think we are going to see here as far as openers? Does Scarlett go again into that 4-queen again on a map where Reapers, you know, have a lot of room to... Well, what is it that you call it? That small area behind the natural?
I mean, depending on the spawns, like the little peninsula. There's
Oh,
that,
yes,
that part
the
that
peninsula.
sticks out that you can just
Yes.
jump up to from the natural. It makes things, I think it makes things a little bit easier for Reaper play. Like Flash,
You said Flash before did a proxy Reaper on King Sejong Station. Any chance he does it on this map?
I wouldn't be surprised since he's up one map in this series. This is probably one of the most popular proxy Reaper maps because of, you know, as we were discussing, the architecture of it, allowing for Reapers to jump
Yeah.
around pretty easily. So
I think it was
maybe-
MMA that did it against Nuke.
I've
Proxy
seen
Reaper into
MMA.
mech.
I've seen MMA do it. I've seen Cure do it. I've seen, I think, even Yoda do it. Most TvZ series I've seen on this map, like someone's busted it out. MMA's done it a lot. Yeah.
Is that your main build on the ladder, Nate?
I don't proxy Reaper. It always gets scouted. I have bad luck. I have bad luck with my cheese.
Some of the matches that we're going to see tomorrow to find out who else qualifies, by the way. In the Group A, we're going to have Bunny take on Zest. One of those guys is going to move on to round of 8. Linog versus Violet. SOS versus First. Oh my god. It's actually going to be the rematch from the first match that happened in that group. And then, of course, the winner of that match here will play against MC because Life did take out MC in the winner's match and Life moved on to the next round. So far, 2 Terrans and 2 Zergs. Definitely going to have 1 Protoss moving on tomorrow in the Group C because it's a PvP in the deciding match.
Yeah,
Interesting stuff here.
This is the results in this tournament have definitely been a bit interesting to say the least. Liquid guys, we're having a ball to say the least. We are now loaded into the game though. Can start map number 2. This is of course the lower bracket match. The loser of this best of 3 will be eliminated from the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto. And our first player spawning in the top right position in blue, playing Terran for KT Rolster. He is Flash. And his opponent spawning in the bottom left, needing 2 map wins to stay alive. Representing Acer, she is Scarlett.
What is it going to be, Nate? Is it going to be the proxy? Doesn't look
Too late.
like we're going to see a proxy.
And the depot,
from
depot's
Flash.
almost done. No SCV out on the map.
And Scarlett going for the drone scout here, wants to make sure no kind of 2 racks or proxy goes down.
Yeah, I think with how popular it is in this map, you need to be careful. But there's also so many different places where you can place a barracks. It makes it tricky because even if she sends the drone scout out, she would be unlikely to find a proxy barracks if there was one. Maybe if it was an 11-11, but you would never find the Reaper one. Flash is just going to open a Reaper.
Upon seeing what she's up against, is the opener always the same? Does she just get the enough walkers to
Oh no!
have a few lavas? Oh, okay. Hash block.
You know what?
I was
Todd?
wondering about that.
Let's take the book of rules of standard TvZ we were reading and just throw it out the window because things are going to get weird again. This is very similar to what we saw Lenok, I believe, bust out earlier today. Ye old proxy hatch. Now, there are a couple ways to do this. You have any? I guess as a Protoss player, you kind of know the pain of having to deal with creep in your natural. But as a Terran, I'm wondering if Flash is going to have to deal with either a very fast speed follow-up, as there is an extractor on the way, or if it's just going to be
Linok lost that game, right? When he did
else.
that. I think he lost it.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, so, I mean, Scarlett's going to have to do better than that. But, yeah, tell us a little bit more about the build here and how you can counter this exactly as a Terran. Like, what's the best and most efficient way?
There's a surprisingly large number of ways to handle this.
Okay.
It does come down to how fast you scout it. The SCV goes in the natural and sees this. So he's going to start a bunker.
And I guess it depends on how much the Zergs commit to this. Like, it could just be the hatch to block, for the longest time.
Scarlett could cancel this hatch and turn it into an evolution chamber if she really wanted to. And that'd be like probably maybe the lowest amount of investment.
I was thinking more like she just lets this hatchery finish. He's actually going to throw down a CC next to this.
Just let the creep block it.
Flash is making himself at home, and I guess he's at home because it's his natural base after all.
Yeah. So
Get off my lawn,
Flash isn't concerned about this, and Scarlett's not going to commit anything else. She just wants to delay how long Flash can mine, but I think the command center positioning says a lot about how much Flash is worried about this.
Yeah, was that worth it?
Honestly,
I'm
with
pretty
how
sure-
long it'll take to
Yeah.
build the orbital command, it probably wasn't. The only thing
Yeah.
that Scarlett got out of this was the 6 or so SCVs that were brought down to fight against this, because now Flash kind of hurts his own economy. He's mining about 200 resources less per minute at the moment.
Ideally, when you do this as a Zerg, you're hoping to face a CC first, right?
If you're facing a command center first on the high ground,
SCV
yeah.
died. Oh no, he barely escaped. Okay.
So it delays it a little bit. No actual units killed, so the SCVs are still alive. Scarlett's finishing up for Natural back home.
I'm pretty sure that Flash played against this before. I knew exactly how many SCVs to pull. I think he pulled like 5. It's the same against Protoss. Like, if you're a Protoss player and you want to go for a Nexus first, and then you get your natural blocks, you need to pull like 10 probes. That's the exact amount that you need to pull for it to be worth it. Get the cancel and then get your Nexus up. So in this case, 5 SCVs. Flash was able to get rid of that and then go straight away into the third command center behind this, knowing that there cannot really be too many all-ins that could be used and work here.
This is kind of cute. The two sets of Zerglings that Scarlett was building inside Flash's base. I think if they'd been able to run to the right, maybe it could have been a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
Flash's depots were down.
She already has speed, so she's gonna try to be annoying here a little bit.
Flash raises the depots though. No way for Scarlett to get in. I think, like in some worlds, a very aggressive Zerg player that's done this will say that Flash has no natural wall, therefore a very big speedling flood could kill Flash, and I wouldn't necessarily disagree.
The third CC not being seen here, I guess this is a big deal, right? And a Scarlett, she has only one single Overlord near there. Can she actually get it in and see exactly what she's up against, which ideally you always want to happen?
I don't think so.
Especially SCVs, I think, are going to see that Overlord, so...
The SCV should see the Overlord moving in. If they can't, then I would like to see Flash potentially build a supply depot in the top left area of his main, because like based on how Flash opened the last game, Scarlett definitely wants to be prepared against anything. Like this Baneling Nest, she wouldn't need to build this if she knew it was a third command center build, because it's not, Flash isn't getting an armory, he doesn't have any additional barracks. There's no threat of any bio or light unit push aside from just standard Hellion pressure. But Scarlett
she's
doesn't
spending a
know
lot
that.
of gas. Any chance she tries and do a timing? Double additional gas going down here for Scarlett as well as the spine, so I guess not. She's still droning up heavily.
Even the spine, I think. This isn't a fast layer build, so
She
Scarlett's
has no
spine
idea what
has to
she's up
be,
against.
yeah, she's just not sure what Flash is doing. Imagine if Flash had built 2 barracks, but as soon as he saw that, after he started that command center, suddenly he has 15, 16 Marines. His stim is almost done.
He scans, sees the spine, the double gas on the natural, the Baneling Nest as well. And I mean, he played it fairly greedy, to be honest. Went for the double eBay with just one single racks. I mean, as much as he's making Hellions and he has a wall of.
Yeah, Flash has, honestly, doesn't have anything to be concerned about. He's going to get away with this bit of greed. He's not the kind of guy to make a micro mistake to allow a couple of Zerglings to kill all of these Hellions, and even pulled himself back in his base, because he's thinking right now, he's like, well, that Baneling Nest is either because you're putting yourself behind by being overly defensive, which we know that Scarlett's doing, or there's a big attack coming. And in both of these scenarios, Flash is already in a good place, because if his Hellions are at home to defend an attack, great. If there's no attack coming, Scarlett's still not doing a lot for herself.
I think he got scared by the thing that he scans, like seeing the 2 additional gas and the Baneling Nest. He just pulled back home for the longest time. So now he hasn't denied creep spread at all. Even that tumor actually right next to his Hellions, he's gonna go up. So Scarlett, if you let her get too crazy with the creep spread, she's gonna have so much vision. She's always gonna be able to take the good engagements that she needs, and you're gonna be in trouble as a Terran player.
Yeah, it's definitely important for this matchup for sure. The Spire is on the way. Overseer morphing down the top side.
Pneumatized Carpe is just finished, so let's enjoy the Ferrari speed here.
Yeah, that Overlord is going to get a very fast look at everything here. Seeing additional barracks being added. See that the starport's about to go in the reactor. So Scarlett knows that about a max of, say, a minute until medevacs are out, and then probably maybe another minute or so before they actually cross the map towards their side of the base. So right now it's all about that creep spread. You want to keep these forces back. Since Flash
Changeling, man.
Yeah, since Flash kept his Hellion. Oh, wow.
Look at that guy. What a boss.
It's like, excuse me, sir, you're not supposed to be here. It's like, well, turns out he wasn't human after all.
In terms of creep spread, again, Scarlett, she's really being allowed to do whatever she wants here. So I think she's just going to want to look to drone up a little bit more, make sure she has enough units in case she gets attacked. And you see she's starting everything on time. The 1-1 was started a while back. Baneling speed is on the way. She has the Spire about to finish and enough gas to make at least 5 mutas. So even though, you know, it wasn't the best opener in terms of where she was headed and she didn't know what she was up against, you know, made the quick Baneling Nest doing nothing with it for the longest time. she's still doing what she has to do to somehow climb back into this game and make sure she doesn't fall too far behind in economy and even army. 71 drones actually to 59 SCVs.
She does need to be careful though.
Yeah.
She only has 6 Banelings. There are 5 Hellbats now and a single Hellion. 23 Marines. So even just trading all these Hellbats out for the Banelings is cost effective, I think, for Flash. And then because his Marines will just mop up Zerglings.
Not many units have died actually in this game. Just 8 for Scarlett and 1 for a single one. Well, now 2 for Flash. And he's not even bothering trying to push back the creep spread. Do you think this is wise? Using more mules to get more army and then going for a big fight? I guess he would invest a lot into that fight, and if somehow it didn't work, then he'd be in trouble.
You're right. This is a very different makeup compared to the last game where Flash was able to just push on all fronts against Scarlett throughout the whole game. And now Scarlett's even going up to an infestation pit.
Swarmhost or what?
It could be.
I think it's Swarmhost. Like you don't usually get it that fast.
It would line up for a hive to get three upgrades in a
yeah, but
glands,
usually you want to get closer to maxing out before you
want
finally
your 4th.
make that.
Yeah, you want your 4th before that time. She can't really afford to move into Swarmhost or start
There we go.
upgrade for them. So
Kill some of those crypt tumors here, and I think Flash is gonna want to maybe try and push from there, but he's playing with Hellbats rather than Widow Mines.
Yep.
Like, how important is this? Like, if you look at the army of Flash and the army of Scarlett right now, and you imagine they're gonna fight on the edge of the creep, like, surely Flash is gonna do better than on creep, but is it gonna be good enough?
I think the Hellbats, it comes totally under preference, because if the Hellbats soak up Baneling shots, they're kind of doing the job of the Widowmine anyway, which is to eliminate Banelings from the equation, except, you know, Hellbats can fight back after they fire off their first volley. There it is! We will see the Swarm Hosts once again, and with this creep spread, it's going to make things more and more easy. I'm starting to wonder, you know, we were talking about this last game, what happens when you're not behind and you do this?
And you know, Flash is cleaned some of that creep spread, but he's waiting for his 2-2 upgrades, I think, to hit the timing here. The thing is, when 2-2 finishes, there's going to be a bunch of Swarmhosts out here for Scarlett to really help and reinforce. So as much as his bio forces, he's going to be an overwhelming force with a lot of army supply. He's actually ahead right now with 122 against 101. It's just going to be very hard for him to break Scarlett, I feel.
Yeah, but as long as there's creep spread, Scarlett has a lot of time to prepare for every push. And now that we're going to see, all of these, these Swarm Hosts on the map,
Ooh, the Mulats
she's
out
going
of
to
position.
slowly trade away against this.
The Mulats are trying to catch off the reinforcements here, and they do get some of those. They're going to be traded for some of those Marines.
Yeah, this is smart. Flash is about to find out about the Swarm Hosts, though, as these Locusts begin to chew away at his Bioforce. But you know what? He still kills that 4th base, which is incredibly important in this scenario. Couple Banelings on the right side couldn't even
Banelings
attack.
on the right-hand side, maybe preparing for a counter-attack here. Flash is going to get in there even against the Locust once again, just like in the previous game. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he's just kind of fighting against these Swarm Hosts with impunity, and there's not a lot of them, just 8 at the moment. A couple more about to pop out as long as these Banelings don't connect on the Marines. Flash has the firepower to push through this, and now the Swarm Hosts unburrowing, running away. Flash is up about 20 or so army supply. Drones will get picked off, and just on 2 bases, we saw Scarlett wasn't able to make it work before, Todd.
22 drones just died, Nate, and Scarlett is falling very far behind in supply. I don't think Flash cares about the Locusts.
Flash just does not care about the Locusts. He's in the natural Marines, killing everything, and Scarlett down 60 supply now, on the verge of being eliminated from the Intel Extreme Masters. Banelings surrounding everything, but Flash just has so much production back home. He shut down every single mining base that Scarlett has taken since the beginning of this game, and now Flash, I have a strange feeling, he's going to get more units, and he's not going to care about all those Swarm Hosts.
44 drones just died. Scarlett is now on 2 bases. She has literally no saturation on the natural. She's trying to chase back some of those units. But if you look at the production tab, I mean, Flash is following everything up. His upgrades, he's getting 3-3 on the bio, +2 on the vehicle weapons. And in terms of macro, Flash is so impressive. Kind of reminds me of, you know, the Yoda of the old times. That really was, for me, the first Terran who really focused on spending all of his money as soon as he got it.
Flash just does not miss a beat with his production. I even like that he mixes in the siege tank in case he wants to try to hold a position down against the Swarm Hosts. And now he's just going to keep driving it home. Thor gets caught off on the side, not too bad. He's moving into the natural. Once again, Scarlett does not have a crazy amount of Banelings with this force. Zerglings try to surround from the behind as these locusts spawn. And she's getting maximum surface area, but Flash just has way too many forces. The next wave's going to come in. He's actually losing a lot of his army, needs to get a scan in here. But Scarlett, how long can she hold on with this? Swarm host beginning to finally die. She's dropped below 80 supply, and with this many Marines and Marauders coming across the map, the army, eventually, he's going to be able to nail this one in. The next wave's here. Thor, Juke's coming in, and Scarlett, she doesn't have a lot of options left, Todd.
Flash wants a rematch against MC. I think he's going to get it. GG.
GG. Flash will eliminate Scarlett from the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto. And he will get that rematch against MC. With the handshake, Scarlett doing a great job representing her country, but Flash, he is the ultimate weapon for a reason, Johan.
I wonder if Scarlett went for that build because she felt inspired by Snoot's game, or if she had practiced it, but he didn't look nearly as convincing. So I feel like to do justice to this, we need to see Flash maybe later on against Snoot. If that were to happen, and we'd see the same scenario and Snoot pull it off, I'd be amazed, because Flash made it look easy here against the Swarmless play of the Zerg player.
And you know, you'd kind of said Snoot showed us the masterclass of that style, and I think we would see the best way to deal with it if we saw Flash. Everybody was watching those games. Everybody's kind of looking at all the players that are doing the interesting builds, and a lot of those are coming from Snoot in this tournament. But Flash, he's gonna live to fight that final match that I believe will be played out to tomorrow to determine whether or not he does make it to the quarterfinals. And it certainly won't be an easy one after the results of his first series he played today.
Yeah, it's been such a cool day of StarCraft, and when I look at the matches that we're gonna have tomorrow, man, I'm just so excited. Bunny versus Zest. I mean, I've been wanting to watch this. They didn't play in the group yet. Zest played against 2 Terrans previously, so Bunny's gonna have those games to study from. Then you have Linok against Violet taking place as well. SOS versus First.
Yeah, it's gonna be an awesome day of StarCraft tomorrow as we continue to move through the Intel Extreme Masters group stage and finish everything up as we start the quarterfinals. But let's hear from Paul over on the couch. What's happening?
Thank you very much to our commentators for our final game of the day. Sad shot there of Scarlett.
Yeah,
she
looked pretty disappointed.
Yeah, it is a sad way to crash out in front of the home crowd as well.
Games do not feel up to the caliber that I expected from her.
No, that was the question I was actually going to ask you. It's not quite what we expect from her these days.
Yeah, it felt like she saw what Snoot did, and maybe she's a little familiar with the style and tried to mimic it, but obviously did not practice the style very much. Because in the past, Scarlett plays a very calculated, a very well thought out way, and there it was like she tried to make some units, and then she didn't have an army, and then she died.
Yeah,
and that's kind of how both games.
Yeah,
went.
I mean, we usually see her with fantastic creep spread, great control of units. It didn't feel. I mean, I don't want to be too mean, but it didn't feel like the Scarlett we're used to.
Yep.
I kind of felt the same way as you, QXC. I mean, in the end, obviously you've got to say that if we, when you looked at Snoot's game against Massa and how he was orchestrating the Swarm host style, Massa, to be fair to him, is not on the same level as Flash. So, Flash, it's very, very difficult, I think, to go with him in that.
Take
kind of
nothing
style.
away, because Flash, he's played a great game. He's come back from a disappointing defeat against MC as well, so he's had to lift his spirits, and he kind of showed us what he's got to offer as well. So he's still in the competition.
There were a couple other things going on in that game though, like in Massa versus Snoot, regardless of the player's skill levels, Snoot got ahead in both of those games, doing some sort of economic damage or just droning a little harder than would be normal. And in both of the games that Scarlett and Flash played, Scarlett kind of got behind at the beginning, especially on Sejong losing a lot of drones. And then it just felt like the transition into Swarm Host was too early.
Right.
And we saw that was very pronounced on Foxtrot, where...
hold on, did you say too early or too... Cause
too early.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because with Snoot, he was kind of like, okay, I'm going to do this. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get ahead, and then I'm going to hit him with Swarm Host. But Scarlett was behind and then went. So I thought maybe it was a bit of desperation.
So on Foxtrot, it was really pronounced what going Swarm Host on 3 bases does to your army.
Flash maxes. He's got 2-2. He walks across the map, and Scarlett's already moving into the transition of Swarm Host Muta Ling. And because she's put so much gas into not just the Swarm Host, but also the Infestation Pit, the Enduring Locust, whatever that upgrade is called.
That one,
so
yeah.
the armies clash, and it's like, 10 to 15 mutas, 8 Swarm Hosts, like 80 Lings, and, 10 Banelings.
Yep.
And that is just not going to cut it at that point in the game. You need... The gas is so important for the Zerg player, and when we saw Snoot do it, he wasn't ever transitioning until he at least had his 4th base gases secured. And that seemed to be the critical difference.
And this, ladies and gents, is why I'm still stuck in silver stroke gold, and this man's a genius. Thank you very much, Kevin, for giving us some great insight throughout the day as well, as yesterday as well. Great to have you with us. Same as Kalaris. We're going to finish up now by talking about the 4 groups. So let's show you the 4 groups as they stand right now. Group A, Tasia, Bunny, and Zest. Polt is gone. That's why he's grayed out.
Is the player on the top, that's the one who's already advanced?
Indeed, yes. Okay. And in Group B, Yoda through as the champion of Group B. No one had that on their radar potentially, other than Kalaris. I'll give him that one. Lenok and Violet will fight it out tomorrow, first thing, for their final place in the quarterfinals. And Hyun, the man who is top of WCS rankings right now, is gone. Group C, Massa, I think predictably, we thought that probably would happen to him, unfortunately.
He's definitely the wild card of the whole tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Snoop, though, top of Group C, in a group that contains the world champion from BlizzCon and the Intel Extreme Masters world champion and first, which we know all about from WCS. That's an incredible achievement from a man that didn't make it through the round of 32 at WCS.
I mean, I didn't get a chance to see Snoot's game against SOS or anything like that, because obviously we were casting other games, but Snoot doing that, it's just, that's a fantastic result for him. An absolutely fantastic result.
Group D, Life winning Group D. MC plays Flash in the rematch tomorrow for a place in the quarterfinals. So the quarterfinals right now look like this. Tasia, Yoda, Snoot, Life. And then one of Bunny or Zest, Lenok or Violet, SOS or First, and MC or Flash. That's an all-star roundup, but let's just round up who is not going. Scarlett, no Polt, no Hyun, no Jaedong. I could go on. No Hero. I mean, the list is endless of fabulous players who are not going to be taking part tomorrow.
There was a lot of good players here. Okay, Paul, I get it. I get it.
I think that's probably the way that we end today. Thank you very much to both of you and to all of our fellow commentators and, of course, our observer, Mr. Infeza backstage. And I forgot him yesterday. Did a fabulous job yesterday with our interview with Life. And again today, Mr. Mel, SC2 Mel on Twitter, a.k.a. James. Thank you for all the interpretation that you've done to help me out with regards to the interviews. We'll see you tomorrow from 10 a.m. local time for more StarCraft 2 action. It's the knockout stages and the quarterfinals. We'll see you then.